And welcome to a special edition of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, Wize, and my guest today is a business coach who help heart-driven, qualified coaches turn their expertise into consistent 10K a month, 10K months, without sleazy sales tactics or cookie cutter marketing. She is known for cutting through the fluff and calling out the real reasons great coaches stay broke. Today, we're talking about sales as service, strategy over hustle, and how to finally build a coaching business that pays you back. Welcome to the show, Lidia Axe. Hello.
Yeah, hi there. Excited to be here.
The pleasure's all mine. I'm excited that we finally got to make this happen. So, what made you realize that talent and certifications weren't enough to succeed as a coach?
Well, I tell you what, look, I've been doing this as a coach since 2017. So I'm counting 8+ years, right? And as online solopreneur or entrepreneur for the last 12 years, right? So I think, and then working with numerous clients and seeing this problem come up again and again and again. And I have a little bit of beef with those coaching schools, where they're like, yeah, come here, get this nice certification. That's it. That's all you need, which is totally not true. That's not just all they need, but it's just a tiny fraction of what they need to be able to build a successful, profitable business that can pay your bills. And then when you read all the reports and all the statistics, what you see is you see the data supports what I'm saying. There are a lot of coaches and they have really nice certifications, but their business is not doing that great
Why do you think many great coaches are struggling financially?
because they never told that certification is not enough, that they need to become someone else, that the whole identity need to change from the employee mindset to the business owner mindset, that they need to learn the whole new skill set of how to attract clients, how to convert clients, how to run a business, like all the skills that they need, and then build the systems that gonna support the business. They never told this. And they have a very fragmented information, like start the Instagram account and that's gonna help your business. Well, how does it fit in? Do you have a business strategy? Do you have a business model? Do you have a marketing plan? How does this fit in the marketing plan? They have nothing. Like they're not aware of this at all.
So what did you get wrong early on about marketing and selling?
Well, I am a little bit lucky, right? I started um, in the finance, right? I was a corporate person. I worked 15 years in corporate as a finance person. Then I got my business education, right? My MBA degree. So by the time I started my first business, I had a very strong business foundation. But imagine a career person or
Exactly. Yeah.
health coach or, you know, give me relationship coach. They have zero education, experience, understanding how business work, how finance work. They have zero of that. So me, even with my strong background in business, finance, background and education, I still struggled to translate, to change from the employee mindset to the business owner mindset. Again, we haven't touched on the mindset piece, which is very different from the employee to business owner. But even from the knowledge and experience point of view, I was a little bit privileged because I had that, and I knew I need to have a budget. I knew I need to have a business model. I knew I need to worry about all elements of the business, right? Client acquisition, the conversion, the execution, customer service, all the elements of the business model. If you look at the business, here's the problem people don't realize. It doesn't matter if you're one person business, 100 people business. The business still have those departments or like elements, right? There's still a marketing department, there's still accounting department, there's still IT department, there's still customer service department, right? Now,
Hmm.
the only problem, if you're doing it by yourself, you wear all these hats, you still need to do them if you want to build a business.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the biggest kind of the thing that blows people's mind when I start talking to them about business.
Yeah. Because some many coaches resist sales, right? Even when they generally want to help. So it's because, like you talk about, they don't have that mindset. They don't know about business. Yes, they're great coaches, but they're not business savvy. So they don't know how to market. They don't know how to promote themselves. They don't know how to build their brand. Because they might be the greatest coach, but if no
Yeah.
one knows who you are, why would they want to choose you? So it's very important that you learn, and that's something I've been working on myself as building my podcast is learning how to brand and market and use social media
Huh?
and but that's not enough. That there's other things you have to do. Like there's other things I have to do. I have to go be a guest on other podcasts. I have to go collaborate with other people, build these networks and relationships because I need to get my name out there.
No, that's true. That's true. You're talking about promotion or the awareness, the traffic, the brand building, whatever it's called. But I think what is important, and I think, um, as you move on, you need to realize, you need to have a big picture thing, right?
And we have to
Because,
build a system. Yeah, it took
yeah,
me building a system to really get
right,
it so structured, right? To really get it
r-
to where I wanted to go. I had to
right,
implement the system.
right. Because you need to understand what are the elements of my
Mhm.
business model, right? And you need to dedicate time to all of them
Yeah.
because it's easy to get distracted. Like, okay, well, I'm going to go on Instagram all in. I'm going to spend 6 hours a day on Instagram. Now, that's all good. And you might get some attention, some traction. But what about other elements of your business? I just described 8 other roles that somebody has to fulfill in your business.
Hmm.
So I think what people don't realize is there are different ways how about go about it. One way is to become a business owner and learn this, painfully, through experimentation, learning, coaching, and become a business owner, really understanding what your business is, what is your business model, and how you're going to work through it. Or you're going to say, you know what? I want to stay a professional or an employee, right? I'm a great, I don't know, nutritionist. Fine. Find a clinic or find platform or find someone who's going to take care of the business element, and they will hire you, and they don't have to hire you as an employee. They're going to hire you as a subcontractor or as independent expert. It doesn't matter what the name is, but in the nature, the only thing you will be responsible for is coming and providing the service. So this is the difference, right? It's not the name. It's not the name. Freelance in my playbook is still an employee, right?
Yeah, you
If
still got
you're
to spend hours.
freelancing, it's an employee or fractional CMO, fractional whatever. Again, it's still an employee role. And again, no shame. I'm not saying you shouldn't do this. I'm saying that you need to distinguish the two. Are you the employee, even though you're not called employee, you're called a freelancer, a contractor, a partner, or whatever you called, or You decide, I'm going to go and build my own business. But then, A, you need to learn a bunch of all the skills that you need. And then you're going to be responsible, because I think the biggest difference is you're responsible for all these things, for client acquisition, for traffic, getting more traffic, getting leads, getting the conversion, so doing the sales call. Again, yourself or hiring someone, it doesn't matter, but you are responsible in the end. And then execution, service, and then the customer support. Again, whether it's you or you hire someone, it doesn't matter, but you are ultimately responsible all of this. So you need to know them, even when you subcontract or outsource or even automate them. You still need to understand what they are, what the level of quality you want, and you manage it.
You say sales is service. Why do so many coaches struggle with that idea? Like that doesn't resonate with them. Why doesn't it hit?
Yeah, I think it's not just coaches. I think it's a bigger issue. I think we live in a world where sales get bad rap, bad reputation. I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift, and she has the Bad Reputation album. So it's just, look, in the movies, in the culture, we just been um, how you say, conditioned to view sales as pushy, someone trying to shove something down our throats. So basically, sell us something we don't even know we need. All right.
Yeah.
So that's the bad reputation thing. And we always think, oh my God, if I ever try to offer something to people, that's how I'm going to be viewed, right? Because you've had this experience. So we project. Now, I say coaches should be best salespeople, because best salespeople, they don't talk too much, but they listen. And coaches are best listeners, right? They ask very good, open ended, deep questions. That's what coaches know how to do. They're best at this. And then once they gather all that information, they provide solutions. And I think this is the key point, the third one, right? The solution. When you hear what this person in front of you, and again, we have to see this as a person and this conversation as a relationship building, not a always be closing thing. No, no, no. That's not a goal. The goal is to provide the best from what you just learned and heard. So sometimes you ask these questions, you hear what they need, and what you offer as a coach is the best solution. Then I think, becomes pretty easy, right? Just offer what you have and say, I believe. And that's where self worth and self confidence comes in, which is
And
a
that's
completely separate topic. But
no,
if
but
they
that's
have it,
something, yeah, but that's something a lot of coaches lack, right? Is that self confidence? They don't know that.
but let's get to
Yeah.
that. But if they have, that is it. That becomes just an easy, like, yeah, you just told me what you need. I have what you got. Here it is. Like,
Hmm.
how simple is that? Right now, you have to be ready to hear that they need something else, and then don't shove down their throat what you got to offer, because that's not what they need. Then you're like, well, and then you can share either someone else's service or maybe other solutions, or maybe it's not the time. I mean, there are hundreds of situations where what you offer is not the best for that person, and you need to stay ethical, you need to keep the integrity. And I think for coaches, it's not that difficult, to be honest. I think coaches with the code of ethics, and if they went through some good coaching schools, they should be able, to deal with that situation. Right now, let's go back to what you mentioned, because I think that's probably at the crutch. That's probably,
That's one of the biggest issues that coaches have is this
yeah,
self confidence is not
because
believing.
they need,
Yeah, it's not believing that they what. That's one thing I found out. when I started coaching was I didn't know how to price myself, right? Because I didn't want to price myself too much because then I was like, oh, you're not worth that. Or you didn't want to price yourself too little because then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm putting enough. So that's something that coaches do struggle with is setting prices for themselves, is actually knowing what they're worth.
100%, 100%. And I'm not going to give you, unfortunately, I'm not going to give you the answer, right? I'm not. And nobody, if
I'm not
people,
saying it's not. No, it takes it,
right?
it,
But I'm going to
it-
tell you my experience, what I've used, and what I teach my clients, okay? Or what I help my clients do. First of all, if you're just starting out, it's okay to do stuff for free just to
Mhm,
get that experience. Because I think confidence, we just talked about confidence. Confidence only comes from evidence. Okay.
mhm,
Alex Hormozy says, you know, you cannot get confidence by shouting affirmations at a mirror. You can only get confidence by undeniable evidence that you can do this.
mhm,
I subscribe to this idea. I agree. When you're just starting out, you're a new coach, that's okay. Get as many cases as you can. Now, not like forever, but you know, see if you can get reliable results with first 5 clients, first 10 clients. Now, if you're getting results again and again and again, it's like working, you know. And again, it will vary because it does depend on the other person. As a coach, we cannot take responsibility, right? It does depend on how other person is committed, what's going on in their life. But, you know, when you do like 5, 10, 15 cases and you see pretty good result. And for me, pretty good is like anything over 80%. Again, there is no hard rule. Now, it seems like it's working. Well, I think you need to start charging, right? And again, I think what you can ask these people, they got results. You're like, okay, can you refer
it's
someone to me?
mhm,
Yeah, again,
testimonials.
following Alex Ramosi, you get testimonial. You also ask them, "Hey, can you refer?" So as you get clients, I mean, your indication should be your booking calendar. Okay, I'm really sorry if you booked out 3 months in advance. That's an indication you need to raise your price. It's not the guru who's saying, "Oh, you're charging too low," or you know, you should charge premium prices. No, don't believe that bullshit, right? Just look at your calendar. Are you
Yeah,
booked out?
it's funny because you mentioned that, right? And for the podcast, like I remember when it was difficult for me to find guests, right? It was hard, like
Mhm.
hard to find guests. And it took me networking and building it and getting it to where now I don't go a day or two. I don't go a day without in my email being 4 or 5 emails about people wanting to be a guest on my show, right?
And that's
So,
when you start to charge. Yes, do that.
so
Yes.
it's like, man, I'm getting all these requests. Like, I'm no lie, every day is 2, 3, 4 emails. Hey, I have a
But that's
potential guest.
it. You see how easy? But you see how
Yeah,
easy
I
it
just
is?
have to
Like
be.
people ask me like what price should I charge? Well, it's very easy, right? Don't trust opinions. Don't, you know, put the finger up or listen to the bro. No, it's easy. Are you filled up for the next 3 months? I'm filled up in my podcast for the next 6 months. Okay? I don't have space. So if anyone wants to get in sooner, I charge skip the line option. I'm like, sure, you can pay and skip the line. That's it. That is so simple. And I have, you know, and it's very natural. Like, I don't feel weird about it or guilty about it because that's the truth. And when you start, I know a lot of people say charge high prices. Yeah, but what's behind it? Do you have real results behind it? Do you have people in the queue or in the wait list waiting for you? Like, what's behind it? You know, there are a lot of, it's a little bit of a bubble, and we know its bubble is going to burst
Mhm.
in the online kind of thing. A lot of people, you know, selling high ticket, you know, there's nothing behind it, and people got burned. So we are in the trustworthiness crisis, guys.
Yeah.
So
No,
you need to have something substantial behind charging your prices.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I've been offered opportunities, some programs and stuff like that, and just the pricing is like doesn't work for me. Like, okay, if I was making that kind of money to pay that, I wouldn't need you. Like, I wouldn't necessarily need you. And some of these programs are the pricing are, and I don't knock them, right? That's the price is their price. But a lot of people that need the coaching can't afford those prices. So, and but there's coaches out there that do it for service. They don't do it for the money. Like there's some people that they can their programs could be worth thousands of dollars and they won't charge that because they want to serve people and they give them a price that's reasonable, that's manageable for them, and it's also
Mm.
good enough for the whoever is the coach is.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different ways. I do know some coaches who are like very high end, but they also do pro bono work. And I really, really respect those people. But at the same time, if you cannot afford, high end, one on one, there is a different option today. Like I have a community and I decided, I've been toying with it. My entry level is free. So you're okay to join for free and you can get pretty, a lot. And if you take an action, you're going to get even more. And then there is the paid level, still very, very affordable. Now, if you want one on one, if you want my time, right? Well, that's going to cost you, which is okay because that's what I'm paying when I'm hiring or what I paid. So there are options. I think coaches, consultants, solopreneurs, one of the things, the most important thing is while it's called solopreneur, it means you are taking the responsibility. I've talked about it, but it doesn't mean or it actually impossible to do it by yourself. So get yourself a group, a community, a buddy, a coach, get yourself and as many of those as you can, to be honest, because some people love one on one, some people like to be in the group and see what works for you. But it is absolutely impossible to do it by yourself. Can hear you?
That's my fault. I muted myself when I coughed. But um, sometimes, yeah, it takes. It sometimes it takes.
Takes a village.
Yeah, no, it does. It does take a village. It's something that's very important. That's something that's very big. That where me and my nephew are. That's what we scream is we are the village, right? Because we are. We want to build the community, and that's something I've been blessed, right? Since I've been started podcasting, is to connect with some amazing fellow podcasters and creators and coaches and relationships that I've been able to build that have helped me grow as a podcaster, as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a like these past 6 years, I've grown so much from the relationships I've been able to build and the connections I've been able to make and the just me these conversations, right? I take so much from these conversations. I learned so much from this. There was a point where I felt kind of selfish because I was enjoying these conversations so much. But someone pointed out to me that, listen, you're sharing your content. You're putting this out there. It's not like you're hoarding the information. You're putting these interviews out there so people get to enjoy them and listen to them as well. So don't there's nothing wrong with you wanting to grow, wanting to develop and
Yeah.
learn and so when they pointed it out to me, I was like, okay, yeah, let me. So I've now I have no regrets enjoying my podcast and enjoying
No,
these interviews more than ever.
no, same here, same here. So I have a podcast, Coach to Coach Central, where I invite other coaches or subject matter experts, and I always say, the questions I'm going to ask, they will be very selfish questions because I want to
No.
learn from you. And if I learn, I'm sure others will find this useful. So absolutely, don't feel shy. Just ask those questions that are going to help you because if they help you, they're going to help your listeners. Absolutely.
So why is posting more not the answer?
Yeah, I think okay, so we talked about remember the big kind of
Mhm.
beef I have about the employee mindset
Yeah.
and the business owner mindset. And people need to choose. Again, it's binary, unfortunately. It's just one or the other. And I have no shame or guilt. You just choose one. Well, similarly, people don't realize that a lot of advice out there and the strategies are for content creators business model versus the coach, the consultant, the service provider business model. And in my playbook, again, these are two different business models because I'm a strategy girl, right? So if you're a content creator, then yes, you need to choose the platform or a few platforms, I don't know. And then your goal is just experiment, post,
Mhm.
keep going until you find the golden goose, until you find until you have the viral post or whatnot. Okay, and then you grow your audience. Like your main goal, the biggest difference is as a content creator, your main goal is to grow your audience, right, as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Now, for a coach, consultant, a service provider, business owner, like what I do, what I teach people, you have a different goal.
Hmm.
You need clients, paying you cash, right? For that, posting is not the fastest way. It's
No.
not. And growing your audience is not the fastest way. What you need to do, you need to spend time, outreach, right? Being a guest on the other people podcast. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many other ways, but you need to build, I would say the biggest difference, you need to build a deeper connection to your client, to your potential clients, right? You need to get leads, you need to convert those leads, and you don't need that many versus the content creator, right? There are people with a small audience, earning pretty good money. So you can get away in that business model. You can get away with posting, I don't know, a couple times a week, 3 times a week maximum. That's okay because your posting is not, you do need to post because you still want to build your brand. You
Yeah.
still want to have credibility. And when you do the outreach, it's good. You're like, oh, I have that post I can direct you. But what is more important? You need to have the full funnel, right? You need to have the full funnel versus the content creator who's just growing the audience. In the funnel, you need to have the short term content, you need to have the long form content, like podcast, like a newsletter, where you deepen that connection, where people get really to know you and hear you and see you, and they're like, oh, I know that guy, or I know that girl. Now I'm ready to make the next step because that's what you need. You need the next step for them to take the next step
So
for
so
them.
how
So that's it.
how does a content someone take content without okay, so how does content without a conversion path actually hurt their business?
Say that again.
So how does content, right? How do they creating content without a conversion path, right, actually hurt the
Hmm.
business?
I don't think it hurts, but it's basically they're wasting their time.
Mhm.
Look, we all live on a limited time, 24 hours. I don't think anybody came up with the idea how to increase that amount. That's the thing. And look, to create a good content, no AI, not the basic, not the kind of thing that is just nobody's gonna react to. You need to spend time create that good content. So when you create the content, you're not doing the other things, right? The longer term, the longer form content, or the outreach, or the calling one on one, the discovery calls. So basically, that's it. It's just the time attribution. Again, the content creator, the majority of the time goes into creating content, iterating, just playing with it, creating. The service provider, the coach, the consultant, you need to understand that this is just a small piece of puzzle in the whole picture that you are building. Imagine the mosaic, right? The mosaic. There are so many other things you need to put to create the full picture. That's it. That's how it hurts. You just don't spend enough time on other elements.
Absolutely. And we were talking about this earlier about certifications.
Mm.
A lot of coaches hide behind those certifications instead of making offers.
Yeah, it's another villain of mine. And look, um, like there is always two sides of the same coin,
Mhm,
right? There's always every coin has both sides. So on one hand, I love coaches, and I'm a coach, and I love working with coaches because they're lifetime learners. They
mhm,
always want to improve their toolkit, right? Well, imagine the handyman. That's the thing. Imagine the handyman. Like they have the toolbox, right? And they have all those tools in this toolbox, right? They come
mhm,
in with the belt and with all these tools and they come, I'm going to help you. Well, I think coaches are like that. They want to bring more tools into their toolbox. Well, if they sit at home and the only thing they do is just buy more tools, buy more tools, buy more tools, um, you know, they never use them. They nice and shiny and all, but they never use them. Eventually, I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. So I think the trick here is the balance, and the balance need to be absolutely not what coaches think. The balance should be 10% learning, 90% using, implementing. So they need to limit, like, because we're such a lifetime learners, because we love learning, we love information so much, we have to limit ourselves. No, there are other people, right? Type of people who are like, oh, they need to, put themselves a goal of, reading 10 pages a day, or, taking, reading a book or something. I don't think coaches have that problem. I think we have a different problem, right? So we need to limit the amount of time. And again, we come back to the same issue we just described, we just discussed with the content. So with learning is the same. We need to just budget. And look, time, because it's limited, we have to treat it as money. Do you
mhm.
budget your money? Like imagine,
It's a budget
you
thing.
receive $1,000 a month. Well, you know that, 10% goes here, 10% goes here, 20% goes here. This goes to saving, this goes to spending, well, you need to treat your time the same. So, with learning and getting new certifications, I'm not saying you shouldn't do this because it's impossible. Because again, we coaches, we just love learning and we want to grow. And to be honest, I don't think it's a good coach if it's, if you stop doing this, because you can only grow so much. Your clients are going to grow as long as you grow, right? You
Yeah.
grow with them. But there need to be a budget, and you need to stop yourself, and you need to, what you learned, you can use it for content, you can use it on your existing clients, you can create products. That's it. Which is tough. It is tough.
It can be, yes, it can. It can. So, what should a coach focus on first if they want consistent clients, income, work?
Again, I hate universal
Yeah.
advice. It's kind of very hard. It's
Oh,
very
but
hard to say.
what would you recommend? What would be your recommendation
Yeah,
for
of
for a
course.
coach?
I think, look, you got, as soon as you got your certification, or actually when you get in your first certification, even before you got your first diploma, you are encouraged, and you should do this. Go and get your first trial clients. Again, I'm going to refer to Alex Ramosi. I mean, he just said it all, right? Like, go and get your first 5 free clients. So even while you're doing this, first of all, you have very good opening line. Like, "Hey, Jane," or "Hey, Jack," or "Hey, Mary, I'm getting this crazy certification. I'm so mad about it. I'm so passionate about it. Would you like to be my trial client?" And then you said, "I will help you." So you're already testing your offer, right? "I
Mhm.
will help you." Get those 5 clients, and with the network that you have, everyone, has some sort of network. Your friends, your family, friends of family, parents of your kids, classmates, your colleagues at work, your ex-colleagues, your classmates. I mean, every one of us have at least 500 people in our network. I have 5,000 of really close friends, okay? But I'm crazy extrovert, so don't compare to me. But even if you have 500, that's okay. That's enough. Can you get 5? I'm sure you can. Like, don't. If you don't, actually, I had. Okay, I have to tell you a story. I had a call once, a discovery call from a potential client, and she told me that she was isolated by her husband. She was abused, and she has zero friends, like zero network. And even then, we came up with a strategy, what for her to do to get her first 5 clients. So,
Yeah.
you know what? If you have not been isolated by your abusive partner, and you have a phone with WhatsApp, with LinkedIn, with Facebook, you can find 5 first clients. Yes, they're going to be free, but that's a start. You start from there, you make sure they get results. That's it. Everything else goes from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. How can
And
coaches
don't try to run. I'm sorry. Don't try to run before you can walk, and
walk?
don't
Yeah.
walk before you can crawl. Okay?
Yeah.
That's
That's
it. That's the biggest
that's what a lot
problem.
of people think, right? Is that they're gonna come out running, they're gonna come out from the gate, just run out and
Nope.
have all these clients waiting, lined up. Like, no, it doesn't work
Nope.
that way. Like, even for me, I just launched my podcast launch accelerator program, and I have someone in the program that I'm working with. It's a friend. It's she heard that what I was doing, and she was like, "I need that. Sign me up."
There
And
you go.
and that was and I'm building the program while she's in the course, right? I'm building as I go, and
That's
and
the way.
and it's amazing because now I have someone I could bounce, like I have feedback, like right. She's in there in the course and she's telling me, "Hey, when are you gonna do this? When?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's coming up later on in the course, but it's in there." Or like, what could have I done? What could have I done different for you to kind of for it to resonate with you, or whatever it is, or what is it that you see that, man, I need this question answered, or so it's being able to have someone to bounce that off of, right? It's like amazing for me. It's like I'm building such a good course now because I have the feedback in real time. I have someone that could be like, "Hey, I didn't understand this part. Maybe can you simplify it?" Having that kind of interaction and having someone to be able to tell me, like, I didn't like this part of it. It didn't really sink in. Okay, now how do I make it so that it can sink in for someone like that? So yeah, it was crazy because I've been on the fence about starting a course. It took someone to tell me, "Hey, just build it as you go. Like, just start it. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, you have the skills, you have the coaching ability. Start it, build it as you go." And that's what I did. And it's been awesome to be able to see the progress and where I've been able to tweak it here, like change something or change content or whatever it is, add it to this part of the program, and then so yeah, nah, it's been fun. It's been fun and it's exciting, and just
Yeah.
like to have the one person believe in me and say, "Hey, I want to try this. Let's do this." And so yeah, it's definitely a boost to my confidence to have someone wanting to work with me.
Yeah, and what people don't realize, and again, I've been doing it for 12 years. So if you asked me before, I wouldn't know this, but now I do know. Like, you will not get it right from the start, like
No,
ever.
no.
Option A will not work. Option B most likely will not work. Maybe option C, but most likely option F or E, okay, or Z. And that's why if you wait and do this, I think it's one of the common mistakes for coaches, consultants, the educators, people who build course or program, they
Yeah.
build it in their head or in isolation. They're trying to build it and working on it months, weeks, months, years in their head, trying to make that perfect without understanding that whatever however perfect they can make it in their head without that real-time feedback that you're getting right now,
Hmm. Yeah.
they're not it's not going to work. So whenever they put it out, that's when the real work starts. That's when it's going to be still option A or version A. That's not going to work. They still will need to make so many adjustments. So waiting to put that version A up out is just delaying,
No,
and it just does not make any sense.
put version A out, and when you fix it, you just fix it. Like just put version A out. Then you're gonna put version
Exactly.
A1, like version A. Like it's just get it out
Exactly.
there. The point is to get it out there, and you work on it as you go. Like, all right, you put it out there, you get the feedback. Like someone will tell you, hey, I didn't understand this part of it. Is there some way you can bring it? You go back and you're like, oh, let me see how can I adjust it so that it's
Uh,
simpler for them. It's easier for them to understand. So yes, it's. I agree with you 100% because that's what I've did. It's like just dive right in, just put it out there. It took me a minute because of confidence. It took me questioning myself, like, no, I gotta wait till it's perfect. I need to wait till it's ready and launch it. No,
So many people do
no,
this.
no. Launch it and you work on it as it goes because that's the
Yeah.
only way you're going to improve it, right? Because if you launch it when it's ready, it's never going to be ready because you're not going to really get the feedback that you need to improve because you're going to think, oh, this
In
is what
your
they
head.
need. Yeah, you're going to think, hey, this is what they need. No, that's what you need. It's not necessarily what they need. So now if you put it out there and launch it, now they can be like, hey, can you tweak this a little? Maybe you make want to do this and make an improvement on this part of it because I didn't really understand this part of it. So you might have understood it, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean your client is going to understand it. So you have it was smart of me to launch the way I launched because it again I'm working on it, I'm building it, I'm recrafting it. Like I said, Yayoi, she'll come and she'll say, "Hey, this I didn't like about it." Okay, let me go back and review it. She got a point there. That didn't really kind of stick. All right, let's work that. Let's change that. So it's being able to do that has just been amazing. I love it. I appreciate the person who told me to go launch. Just it was someone I went to a coaching coffee and conversation in Harrisburg, PA in December or November. It was sometime, and I spoke to someone and she does PR and marketing and I was like, yeah, I want to get into coaching, but I'm waiting. And she's waiting on what? She's like, no, just launch it. She's like, no, you need to build it as you go. That's the best way for you to do it because you can switch things. And then after I did it, I was like, damn, that made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what do you say to coaches juggling? Because there's some of us out here who still have a full time job and
Yeah.
are barely profitable on their side hustle. What do you say to a coach who is juggling a full time job and not really profitable in their side hustle?
Hmm. Yeah, it's a tough one. And look, and again, you don't gonna like that answer, but there is no one answer for everyone. All right. It
Okay.
depends what are other commitments. Like, do you have a big family like I do? Do you have other commitments? Do you have to pay the bills? The bills are kind of your commitments. Like if I was by myself, that would be one story. I would quit the job right away, and then go all in into coaching. Now I do have a family and I have to provide, then I wouldn't say, do that because it's actually very stressful. So there is no right answer, but one thing is important, is still important, whether you're doing it as a full time, or whether you're doing it as a side hustle and it's still not there yet. But what is your vision? I think we still, like, why comes before the what,
Hmm.
always. So ask yourself why you're doing this. And very often I found coaches, consultants doing it because this is their passion. This is something they feel like they here on this world,
To do.
on
Yeah.
this earth. They came here. And look, guys, not to be overly dramatic, but we come here for a very short time on this earth. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we might be done like tomorrow. Okay. So the best exercise that I've done ever is the eulogy or the 80-year anniversary celebration. So transform yourself
To that person. Yeah.
pretty much the end of your life, 80 years, 90 years, end of your life, and ask yourself, what would you regret? And if you read, there are books and memoirs about what people regret at the end of their lives. And normally they regret not doing things,
Something. Yeah. Mhm.
something that they wanted to do, but they
Great.
didn't do.
Yeah.
That means they didn't go all in. They didn't spend extra. Instead of Netflix, they would work on their business, or that's what they regret, right? So if you feeling demotivated, if you don't feel enough energy, or if you don't feel like enough to go to spend more, and whether it's all in or just part of it, just do this exercise and imagine yourself just further along 10 years, 20 years into your life, and imagine nothing changes. That's the worst, right? Like
Yeah.
imagine you're still dragging. You're still kind of not here, not there. This is kind of my business. This is kind of side hustle. That's terrible drag, right? So transport yourself and feel the misery because it's easy, and I know it's not gonna be nice, but that's okay.
Mm.
Sometimes you need this shock therapy, as I call it. Like feel a little bit of boost of adrenaline, a little bit of boost of cortisol, where you're like, well, I'm gonna do this. Like get a little bit angry. Angry is a good energy, not on the long term, but just give you this boost.
Yeah.
And once you get this boost, just try to rearrange your time so you can spend a little bit more time, get a little bit more strategic. And then finally, like I said, and I'm going to say it again, like a broken record, you can't do it alone. Find a group, find a coach, find a mentor, find an accountability buddy, find someone who will be pulling you out of the daily grind and bring you back to your why, to your purpose, to your mission, to your vision. Just find that group, that person, that coach, and you're going to make it. I'm sure you will.
Awesome. Oh, lady, this has been amazing. Time has flown by. This conversation's been great. Um, but we've come to the part of the show now where you get the spotlight, you get to plug away, let everybody know your websites, your
Sure.
links, everything.
No, of course. Oh, thank you so much. It's very kind of you. Well, I have a group. I started the group. I think that's the best for me to share is join the school community, A zone, magic activation zone, where, I just collect people who are in the beginning of the journey, or they have this as a side hustle, but now want to push it up and kind of finally get there. I am there every day, and I'm there not as a guru, I love that I'm not your guru, kind of Tony Robbins name. I'm there with you. I'm building my own business and I'm sharing my journey. I'm being very real because I believe in this honest kind of sharing. And we also have fun because you know what? It's a tough journey. So, what I'm saying is like, well, why not have fun along the way? Okay, find me on School. School is the platform. So, A dash zone. If you're on LinkedIn, you can find me there, Lidia Axe. I try to hang out there every day. Yeah, and I'm very open and approachable. Any questions, anything you want from me, just Lidia Axe, DM me, send me a connection request, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. Thank you, Will.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Lydia, for being a guest. I appreciate it. But don't leave just yet. Let me close out the show and we'll chat a little bit off the air. But thank you so much. This was great. I love the content that you provided. I love these conversations. These are the best conversations to have. The ones where time just flies and you don't realize that, like, wow, you're almost an hour into it. So, yes, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation so much.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. Another great episode is in the books. This is so dope. I'm glad I was able to bring you this special episode. If you're a coach who knows you can help people, but your calendar isn't reflecting that yet, connect with Lydia and explore her work. All the links are going to be in the show notes. And if this episode hit a nerve, share it with a coach who's done collecting certifications and is ready to start getting paid. You know how your boy Wize does it? Peace out.